voice can break the dark. A single spark ignites the heart. But if we turn when justice calls, the chains we forge will bind us all. When truth is silenced, when lies take hold, the cost is freedom, the soul grows cold. No one stands tall while another must fall. Freedom for one depends on freedom for all. We're mavericks of freedom, rebels in the fight, defending every voice, defending every right. For the moment we falter, the moment we stall, we lose our own freedom when we let others fall. You can't stand free while others kneel. When justice fades, it's freedom they steal. An innocent condemned, a crime unspoken, and with it the bond of liberty is broken. No tyrant rules without our consent. Oppression thrives where silence is spent. Stand for the weak, the silence is small, or freedom will crumble for us all. We're mavericks of freedom, guardians of the light, fighting for the truth, for what is just and right. For the rights of one are the rights of all. We rise or we fall by answering the call. Even those we may oppose deserve the rights we all uphold. For if we deny them what is fair, we build our own prison in despair. The fight's not easy, it never will be, but justice for one is the key to be free. We stand as mavericks, together we strive, defending the rights that keep freedom alive. We're mavericks of freedom, rebels in the fight, upholding every truth, protecting every right. When one is oppressed, we're all in the thrall. Freedom for one depends on freedom for all. So take a stand, let your courage rise. Defend the truth, don't compromise. For the soul of the world, the writing's on the wall. Freedom for one depends on freedom for all.
Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Welcome back, everyone. Great to have everybody here on the Maverick News Channel. Hello, Maverick family. We have a lot in store for you tonight. Auto industry reeling, a lot of concerns about what might be happening with Honda because of a report out of Japan. We'll bring you what we think is the truth. Speaking of truth, what the heck is it? And we're going to dig into what appear to be maybe lies, certainly some propaganda, and we'll explain why, in a new op-ed from Wah, why these lies and spin really cost us all and erode our democracy. But we do have a feature interview right off the top of the program tonight with Michael Bator, People's Party of Canada candidate out of Burlington, silenced, not permitted to participate in an all candidates debate in his riding. It has blown up into really a national story. We have Michael waiting in the wings to come on and speak with us tonight about what really happened and why ultimately the whole thing ended up being canceled. Talk about cancel culture. It seems like it's spreading right through our political system, and we'll get into all of that on the other side of this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, let's get right to it and bring our special guest for this evening in. Hello, Michael. Welcome back to the program, sir.
Hey, it's really good to be back, Rick. You're always a fun man to share ideas with. I know we don't always agree, and then when we do agree, it's a clank the beer time.
Well, you didn't have much of an opportunity yesterday to agree or disagree, or have people agree or disagree with you at all, because they were excluding you as sort of, well, they were excluding you from this all candidates debate in your riding of Burlington. Let's set the table and just explain what happened.
Okay, so rumor through the grapevine is the Burlington Chamber of Commerce, for the first time that I can remember, is not holding the debate because I'm a member and their constitution sets out who can be there. If you're certified, you're in. Basically, from what I read of their rules. So the rumor was this was to protect Karina. Let's get her out. So they put it out to a United
Karina Gould, who's the Liberal candidate.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
so the
and I also ran for the leadership of the party. So you're up against a heavyweight there, but sorry about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, a heavyweight that gets 1.3%, not in the cabinet anymore. Maybe because she's not one of the people that are whistleblown to be traitors or working with. Because just today I saw that come out. There's two RCMP whistleblowers, and most of Mark Carney's cabinet is compromised. And I was surprised not to see Karina there potentially, but to set the tone for the people here. I'm in the riding of Burlington. It's between Hamilton and Toronto. I'm next to Hamilton, actually. Like the next riding to me is Flamborough, which is part of the Hamilton area. I'm running against the Liberal, who is the current sitting minister. She's also the one that took the selfie with the Nazi they brought into House of Commons. So you may have seen that picture. You know, did not see this coming on the Toronto Star. That's her. She was also the Speaker of the House for a little while. And so that's the Liberal opponent. The other opponent is Emily Brown. She received a very good outing in the last election, but didn't win it. For the most part, she's a very nice lady. I wouldn't really attack her. I don't attack anybody personally if I can help it. And she works with some of my members. Nice lady. I don't know Michael Boscheman. He's the NDP guy as well. And then there's Kyle. I can't remember his last name. And then there's a David who is with the Rhino Party. So there's 6 of us, right? And only 4 of us were invited. And the funny thing is, they said they were using the federal rules, in which case they don't qualify. Because the Greens shouldn't be in the federal debate according to the current rules, which they moved the goalposts again. Otherwise, we'd probably both be in, or maybe only us and not them, which I think is unfair anyways. I think they should all be in. I'm not here advocating for the Greens to be out. I want to battle my ideas with them. But here we have 6 candidates that are certified and registered. You know, you got your nomination papers in time, and you're ready to go, you're registered. And they decided to exclude 1/3 of the candidates and call it an all candidates debate, and it's being held at I think it's I always confuse it. It's because it's in Roseland, but it's called Port Nelson, and so I get confused with the names. But it's basically a United Church with these 6-color rainbow flags hanging on it, and they decided that I shouldn't have a voice. So that really was disappointing. We gave a rebuttal stating the fact that using the national ones at a local level discriminate completely against independent, small startup companies. And basically, it's kind of almost like our economic system where the small guy gets screwed and the corporations get bigger. So they applied that type of rule here. And that's disenfranchising over 2,700 of my voters that I got. And I beat the Greens as well by over 1,000 votes. And they don't even qualify for the debates nationally, and yet they're there. So I'm not advocating for them not to be there. I want them to be there. I want to be there. I want everybody's voice to be there. And I don't know if you've seen a lot of my speeches, but you will see in my speeches here and there, depending on where it is and what time it was, you'll hear everybody has a voice and everybody's voice deserves to be heard. And even if I don't like the voice, I want it to be heard. So you can see being excluded in the all candidates. Imagine your local paper. Hey, here's your candidates. Where's the other third of the candidates? So being reduced to a second-class citizen, didn't like it. We did our rebuttal. They go, oh, well, you're probably right. We should review that, but we don't have time now. Yeah. You know what? I've heard that before. It's another lame excuse, in my opinion, because I bet you I could pull an all candidates off in about 5 days, right? And so you can't have another one now. And so I sent out this to the membership. I sent it out on social media, the injustice and the pressure got them to come back and say, oh, and they call it bullying. Oh, really? People speaking up is bullying, right? Yeah, okay. Bullying to me is what you did in COVID, guys. That's bullying, making me lose my job or take the jab. That's bullying. Right?
So you held a protest on the other side of the street from the venue or the church.
Yes. Yeah.
And,
and
then they were concerned about that. They said that was some sort of intimidation, which is why they ended up canceling the event. Is that what happened?
Yeah, so you're getting just a teeny ahead of me, but after the rebuttal, we sent that out. We said that after our rebuttal, they still won't let me speak, and they offered me a table at the kiddie table. Well, you can have a table, but you're not allowed on the stage. Like, how disrespectful is that? How demeaning is that? How second-class citizen and double standards is that? Like, oh, you can come in and have a table, but you can't be on the stage. Oh, really? It's so hard to put an extra chair out?
A table. Oh, so that because I read that they said you could distribute pamphlets and talk to people after the debate. So they were going to give you a table to, I guess, So, sort of have your promotional materials there and have a meet and greet, but not participate in the debate.
Exactly. And so basically that's a second-class citizen. I'm sitting at the back of the bus. I'm not Rosa Parks. Well, actually, I am like Rosa Parks because they ain't sitting at the back of the bus. Thanks very much. I'll walk before I do that. And the next thing you know it, I go, okay, fine. I want to meet these people. So as they come in, we're going to be across the road. We're going to have a free speech rally. It's nonpartisan. There's a lot of the freedom movement. I don't know why they think Pierre is going to save them when he threw them under the bus. I mean, he takes a photo op. I don't know if you've seen the picture. It's the only picture they have. You can't even see any of the buildings. You can tell it's totally staged with 2 trucks like this. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, split the vote. And they came. Whether they split the vote or not, they believe in free speech, right? And remember that Busty Lemieux guy, the shop teacher? Mm-hmm. Half of those 1,500 people were liberals standing with me, right? And I stood with them. We didn't care. You know what? You think the jab's good? I don't. Whatever. That's not the issue. The issue is our children, and we all stood together. And so in that same spirit, we had a free speech rally across the road, and we invited our friends from Hamilton. I've stood with them many, many times, slugging out the PA, getting, entertaining, doing whatever I could to make the event memorable and to get the word out, to the surrounding community that walked by. So they came to help me on a Monday night. It was really rough for some of the truckers. They worked 12 hours a day and stuff. So, we only got about 50 people out or so, but they were amazing. They met at Eastgate Mall. They came in with their, 12, 14 pickup trucks and signs and stuff. And then our group ended up just being down, just showing up. We set up the tent. And so we're right across from them, right face like this. There's a driveway over here. We're over here and the church is here, basically. We're right in. And we didn't crank music or anything. Like, we didn't crank anything. We just enough to hear just a bit across the road. And the idea behind it was, okay, you want to silence me, but I will not be silenced. And here's the people who believe in free speech. And so we set up across the road. And it was really great. I had my sign, vote for Bator, people going by, they didn't know it was canceled. And one couple was amazing. I don't know if you saw the clip, but I'm walking across the road. Hi, how you doing? Oh, hey, what's going on? And it was an Asian couple, just, walking through the neighborhood. And I said, well, there was supposed to be an all candidates debate that they excluded me from. And so I thought I'd meet you by setting up across the road. And he goes, he kind of gave that look. And he goes, so they excluded you. And they go,
Well,
you got my vote.
I'll run the clip. How's that?
Oh, do you have that one? Oh my gosh, that's the one. This is the beginning of it. Maybe about quarter
I'm going
to
to
7.
stand outside because I was censored.
Yes.
And so I just want to have people get to know me.
Hi.
How you doing? Hi, good. I'm Michael Bator. There was supposed to be a debate. They didn't have me in it, so I thought I'd meet people across the road, and then they chickened out. And then you can't even comment on their comments. Well,
I'll give you my. I will you, okay?
Why? Hey, do you like a fighter? Is someone strong, or do you like the weak people that give up? Come on, I play hockey. Come on. You take care, sir.
And so that's all I wanted to do was meet people.
Yeah.
Right? That's it. And I'm not going to be a second-class citizen doing it. So we sat outside. We had David Speaker there, Charles, Zach, and my friend JD. He helped out a lot because he had to MC because people kept going, you're on private property, you're not allowed to park there. Oh, la, 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 la. And I had to keep running across to the cops, and I'm going, and then they just kept going, dude, don't worry about it. Just chill out. You're not doing anything wrong. It's all right. And so I had to go there. Oh, but now they're saying they're going to tow the truck. Look, they're not going to tow your trucks. I get the calls. You're okay. You guys, what time are you out of here? I said, oh, about 7:30. We just wanted to be here for about an hour, right? Oh, okay, great. So it got disrupted a few times that way. But I did get to meet some people, and it was great. They're wondering what's going on, and they're free speech lovers too. Like, I'm telling you, my nomination papers probably had about 10, 15 classical liberals, what the PPC is, classical liberal, believing in free speech, free enterprise, freedom of movement. That's what we're built on, the social contract. And they signed my nomination paper knowing that they probably wouldn't vote for me, but they wanted me at the debate.
And I noticed when you were speaking at your thing across the street, you were talking about the social contract. Can you just explain to people what that is about?
Well, the social contract, it was written, I believe, in 1763. And up to that time, everyone believed in the divine right of kings, which meant that God chose the king to minister the people, and that the only way you could have order was through servitude, right? Like that the top came down onto you and told you how to live your life. Basically, serfdom justified that. It justified a lot of the, two-class system, the haves and the have-nots. But from the Renaissance, you started to get a middle class, the merchants, etc. And so this pent-up feelings started to come out. Aristotle was being read slightly different. You had Hegel's and other people coming out. And there's another one, the two treaties, John Locke. But this one was the most crucial that I ever read in my life. And what it states is that the government is there to serve the people, right? We delegate our God-given rights. We minister ourselves. But we know that over 500 people, you have to start organizing into teams and groups. These guys do that. These guys farm. Those guys cook. So eventually when a society gets too big, it needs to have some type of governance. And at that point, it's the people that decide, oh, Rick, you know what? You're a good guy. You understand what I'm doing. You're pretty good at, you're an engineer, and, we need some roads. So let's make Rick the transportation minister. But if you don't do your job, it's my duty to take you out because you're not representing me. So he presents arguments that way, to the best of my knowledge. And it's all around individual freedoms and responsibilities, right? I wouldn't say he's a libertarian, like in the sense of the far libertarian, there's no laws, no anything, anarchy, but they call it classical liberalism. And that's what Pearson was. That's what Laurier was. That was our country was built until Pierre Trudeau, first Trudeau, started to wreck that. The multiculturalism. Now all of a sudden we've got this two-tier type thing versus everyone is equal under the law, whether you're what religion you are, what race or station, everyone is equal. So if Trudeau does something wrong, it doesn't matter whether he's the prime minister, you go to jail for it. If you're a pauper and you do the same thing, you go to jail. You get the same respect as being the poor fellow who's the homeless guy on the street gets treated the same, right? Everybody's treated the same. That's one of the principles of it. And that's Christianity, is to everyone is equal, not equity, not like it's relative. Oh, it's relative.
Equality of opportunity, not outcome.
Yes, you got it. That's the social contract right there. And you'll notice that the American Revolution and the American Constitution is born out of that individual freedom, right? And what is the basics of the foundation that everything stands on in a democracy? Freedom of speech. That's what he emphasizes in his teachings. There's way more, and it's a bit of a hard read because you have to kind of have that older English. But what an amazing book. That is our society, and that's what's gone. So those classical liberals who signed my nomination, they don't realize their party's left them. They don't realize they're more PPC, right? Everyone says we're libertarians. Well, yes, we're kind of like Rand Paul, right? That's one of Max's heroes, or his dad. I always get them goofed up. But those guys that believe in, and Jean-Jacques Rousseau, he wanted small government. He doesn't want anybody in your way. He thinks that Rick should have every opportunity to do that without being regulated into the ground, without somebody telling him he can or can't do it. So classic liberals do have that libertarianism, but the other thing they have is a leg up, right? They're not like that brutal free enterprise. They have a sense of a leg up, that you have a duty to mankind to maybe help the guy. You're not there to support him, right? If he's going to do that, the world owes you nothing. But if you fell down, I lift you up, you keep walking, right? And if I fall down, you help me up, I keep walking. Not that I fall down and you feed me grapes and cheese and do all my chores for me, right? And that's what we have today, is people coming over thinking that. And it's so antithesis to the social contract. I recommend, if you're going to read any of the books, Machiavelli is cool, trust me. It's a very good read, The Prince. But this one is what our society's based on. If you want to learn the power dynamics of how you rule, either through fear or love, yeah, go for it. You want to learn all the diplomatic backstabbing things, Machiavelli's got your back. But if you want to learn about Western society and its success and where it came from, The Social Contract's one of the best reads ever. And that's where we were born from. We were born out of that idea, out of that thought. And the founding fathers of America made free speech number one. And, just for fun, the right to bear arms is number two. So if they attack your free speech, you have guns. You get how they're working in the American Constitution. Now, Jean-Jacques Rousseau doesn't, to the best of my knowledge, state anything about gun owner rights. That's typically an American thing. They went through it with King George. You wanted to take their gunpowder, take everything. And as soon as a government wants to take your guns, you have to ask, what will you be doing that I will shoot you for? Right? Like you have all these law-abiding citizens, they have guns, they hunt, they love to shoot tin cans, or grab the old TV and go to the quarry and blow the crap out of it. That's a lot of fun. And why do you want to take my guns? So that's where the American Constitution came. And then they went through everything the way that the king had screwed them. And a lot of their philosophy is the social contract, which states that the government serves us. We have individual freedoms that should not be trod on. And free speech is crucial. And that's why people were so upset at my exclusion.
Why do you think some people are so afraid of you?
Well, because they like drinking at the gravy train, and there ain't going to be no gravy train under my watch. You deserve it, you get it. And the way you get it to deserve it is I'm not going to tax you. Max isn't going to tax you. We're going to cut all the crap out. And imagine, Rick, if I gave you $500 a month extra, I bet you'd be pretty soft to that food bank maybe and chuck a few bucks in. You might be able to help your daughter out, get a house, save up a bit more. So the government is taking all of our money and deciding where it goes. And obviously they're laundering it. We see the $2 billion slush fund going to the green. Like, where did that money go? Hey, Jolie, where'd my $600 billion go? You even have Zelensky admitting that, I don't know where half the money go. And I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Right. And so when we take that away from them, they lose their income. In my opinion.
Well, I gotta slow you down.
Well, okay. What do you think?
Because that money, the reason he didn't see it is because it's money that stayed in the U.S. and was allocated for expenditures for Ukraine on the U.S. side. But anyway.
Oh, okay. I don't know what
a lot of these things taken out of context, and with respect to that, at the beginning of our conversation, I was actually going to comment on this later in the program, not while you were here, but you brought it up, and I have concerns about these allegations of traitors within the Liberal Party, these whistleblowers. I've looked into it. I mean, how much have you looked at that story? Because I am skeptical.
Well, I just became aware of it today, and I do know that the CSIS report given under oath was very compelling, saying that we do have 11 traitors or more. Whether those are the actual names, I don't know. But what do you think of the commission's report? Like, this is a new one, 2 whistleblowers. I don't know. It came up. It makes me wonder. And then it ties back, in a sense, to the CSIS report saying we've been compromised since Mulroney. So, like, I don't know how to unpack that except to say I believe that something's going on, because there's no way we can be this country and be this poor and have the homeless that we have and that I see, right? Like, it's something is wrong. And is it foreign interference? Is it greed? I don't know. You've studied this stuff more than I. I'm trying to meet 1,000 people and absorb things.
And I don't mean to hold you accountable for this, because you're just reading stuff online like other people. But in this post in particular, which surfaced last night, which is getting limited coverage, and
I think that's the one I saw
on questionable websites. I think this is here's the letter. And there's an election on. There's a lot of spin, and I would say propaganda going around.
Well, you know what? I wouldn't put it past them. We had a button gate, and maybe this is, hey,
I mean, like Michael, I read this letter, and like, it's signed by Sergeant Peter Merrifield, whoever that is, and a detective, Paul McNamara, who's supposedly retired. I don't know who these guys are. I haven't seen any clips, any video of these guys. They're named, but I don't see any video. I look at the allegations. I don't see any proof. I see things like David McGinty failed as chair of NSCOP and recently Minister of Public Safety to address improper actions of CSIS, whatever those are, for withholding critical national security information from an RCMP investigation, whatever that means, failed to protect the Canadian Charter of Rights, whatever that means, failed to address risks to Canadian citizens abroad, whatever that means, Those are not specific. There's no evidence. These are like broad sweeping allegations. It's basically like saying these guys didn't do their job. In addition, I don't think any of these people were identified in the CSIS report. And these are all top level cabinet members from what I'm seeing. Chrystia Freeland, Anita Anand. It's like all the main players. And the CSIS report also indicated, if you actually read it, the real report, not the media reports that spun it afterward, it said that a lot of these people were unwitting beneficiaries of foreign interference within our system. And that does not make someone, by definition, a traitor at all, because they're not even aware. Right?
Yeah, okay.
And so to make that allegation is in itself defamatory and may actually lead to a defamation lawsuit. And this was brought up on the program by somebody else last night. This reporter, this pseudo reporter, because I've just got I've lost Sam Cooper, this guy who used to work for Global, lost his gig there. Without Global coming out and saying it directly, there are 2 major defamation lawsuits against him, of which Global is involved in one, $10 million, I believe, in one case, $15 million in another, defamation lawsuits. And then on top of that, there was a report that he put out using a clip from a Chinese feature film, like a dramatic feature film, that he claims was security footage from a casino. And that was exposed. Like right there, you have zero credibility. And yet people are still referring to this guy's work as though this is the backbone of these allegations, which seems to just funnel into this, which is now something new. And where are these officers? And so then today, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring this up in your
No, dude, you go for it. We always have good chats, and this is something important to you that I didn't know.
It's about truth. And what good is a government that we might elect that gains power, comes to power on a foundation of lies? So here's this clip from this, I don't know who the hell she is, some woman named Bradshaw. Mark Carney praised he got his security clearance and knows everything that's going on in his cabinet. So what does this mean? He's keeping these 9 MPs in cabinet. So this is an allegation. Them. Look.
Well, we got Marco Mendocino, first one up. So he's allegedly failed to act on warnings on foreign interference and national security breaches. Number 2, Dominic LeBlanc. Allegations accused of not addressing concerns relating to national security and foreign interference.
Not acting.
We got Bill Blair, alleged to have delayed or obstructed investigations into foreign interference activities. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Like, these are not small little crimes like handing out buttons. This is major.
Is it?
You got David McGinty.
What exactly is
oversaw the NSICOP during periods of alleged inactions on foreign interference threats. Anita Anand, failure to respond to national security concerns.
Who's concerned?
Stephen McKinnon, inaction of security issues. And Melanie Joly, accused of not taking sufficient measures against foreign interference in Canadian.
Accused of not taking sufficient measures. So these guys write a letter and say, you didn't do enough. So therefore, like, that's not a crime just because these 2 guys who I don't even know if they're real, first of all. So somebody writes a letter and sends it to Carney, or so they say, but it appears on social media, and they're saying these people didn't do enough. That's what they're saying. This isn't a crime. And they're saying this is some major revelation. And this is not coming from the RCMP. This is not coming from CSIS. This is a letter written by 2 people that I can't even verify their existence. Then I see this woman picking it up after this moose on the loose. Like, yeah, he's Mr. Credibility. Okay. Like he's going crazy. He's the moose guy. Yeah. And then he ran with this last night, got a zillion clicks. And I'm telling you right now, this is not journalism. If this turns out to be anything substantial, I'll eat my cell phone.
No.
Piece by piece, I'll eat all the electronics. I'll crush up the glass and swallow it.
I like you, Rick, and there is a chance it could be true. Maybe not big, but
It's not
I don't.
true.
I'd rather you do
The
something
allegations might be true, and these guys might even be real, but that's not from the RCMP as she alleges. This did not come from the RCMP. The RCMP did not issue this letter, and I'm sorry. I'm tired, really tired of the BS. Right. And I don't mean to pin this on you at all. It's just that this shows that it flows into everyone, right? Because this leads to another post online and somebody else picks it up and it just feeds and then people see it and they believe it. And I'm sorry, Michael, but I don't want to trade one bad government for another bad government that comes to power because people make bad choices based on BS and propaganda, misinformation. This may very well be the foreign influence that people are concerned about. This right here, these posts, those letters, it would not surprise me at all. In fact, I suspect that it is a foreign government feeding this crap into the system in order to get the electoral outcome that they want on the other end after the 28th. I'm just saying, this is crap.
We both want truth.
Yes.
And we both live in a world of deception. And there are some credible sources. There are some that might not be as credible. And in this case, I just saw that.
Not your fault.
The other one I saw was the commission when they did the, and I didn't see the whole thing. I just saw maybe, I don't know, a few minutes of it. But they do have evidence that there's been foreign interference in our government.
No doubt. Yes, that is true.
Right. So, and whether they're piggybacking on that credibly or not, it still is an issue. Why haven't we released the names? Why not get rid of all this fogginess? Right. Just come out and say, okay, here it is. This guy, he ended up wittingly doing this. This guy, he had no clue. All he did was accept these donations and had no idea that it was for this. I don't know what that is. I want to know. Why don't we release the names? And we should have released them before the election. How do I know I'm not voting for one of these guys? How do I know it's not Karina Gould? How do I know it's not Anita Anand or any of the conservative MPs sitting? It could be one of those guys too. I don't know. So those are the ideas that I just wish we had honesty. Right.
And I wish we were getting that from people like Sam Cooper, because really he's been spinning it up. He's been spinning it up. And that's why that's partly why I think people have a distorted view of what's really going on with regard to it, because I do have some degree of faith in CSIS and the RCMP because they brought it up. But we don't know why. It may be because of sources and methods and national security procedures that they can't reveal these names at this time. I don't know, but I do know that this is crap, because these are not the people. At least not 9 of them. Or she has, I think, 7 or 9 people up on that.
Something like that. We're missing a couple.
And they're just going after all the top names. That's what they're doing there, and it's sort of carefully worded so that it's not really allegations of actual crimes. It's just a smear campaign. We all suffer because of that. This is not helpful.
Well, I don't know what to say about this particular one. And yes, we've seen this happen to Trump. You go watch what would happen, and then the news says this, and then the next guy spreads it, and then you get the retraction about 3 days later, and it's this little, and then the damage is done already. So I understand your concern for that.
Because I'm a real journalist. Yeah.
Yeah, I know you dig in a lot deeper than I'm able to. I used to dig in deep like that, but
Well,
unfortunately,
you're
I have to.
campaigning. You don't have time to
Yeah.
sit there
Oh,
and
no.
fact
Hey,
check
even when
everything
you're
that
not
goes on.
campaigning, you're
Yeah,
working a full-time job and trying to keep a small business going at the same time.
that's
So
right.
it's a lot of work. Before the PPC, I used to have the opportunity to dig in deeper to things,
Mhm.
and I was more into the Trump elections and stuff like that back then. And I had the opportunity to take some time here and there and watch congressional hearings and compare them. In this case, I don't know what to say except the fact that I really wish we could have come clean before the election to find out who and what we're dealing with. That personally, maybe I hope there's a really great reason for it, because if not, then I think it hurts our democratic process.
It
But
absolutely does. I keep saying, there's no need to lie. The truth is bad enough. Okay, that
yeah.
you don't need to lie.
Well, they have um, a technique to discredit credible ideas. So let's say Rick, you saw this guy steal his car, and then and then they'll make up a story like, oh yeah, this other guy stole a car, and and it's totally fallacy, and then they try to discredit your story because it's tied to it, even though Rick's car really was stolen. Now they make a fake story, and then because you prove it's fake, now Rick's story's fake. Like I can't make the exact metaphor, but you get what I'm saying, where this information is brought into a certain narrative hoping that people fall for it, and then when it's discredited, it actually discredits the truth, right? Because you have this little thing over here and this really big thing that you prove, but now they got to distract you, right? Yeah, so maybe this is one of those things. And I don't think the conservatives went out of their way to do this. They might have had some zealot people or something like that. And like you said, maybe it is foreign interference. I really have no opinion on it. I don't have any evidence one way or other. I'm just speculating on all these views that I've stated. They're all just opinion, observation, learning from you, and just trying to figure it out. But to me, I'm focused on the selection. They censored me, and we needed to be seen. All I want to, and I don't want to be seen in the little kids table, right? I'm sitting at the big kids table, or I'm sitting across the road with 50, 60 people, and we're going to very peacefully open it up.
And I'll say, to your credit, I tried to contact all of the candidates today to offer them an opportunity to come on the program. I did get a response from the NDP. I did get one from the NDP, the Conservatives and the NDP. But they said they couldn't come on tonight. I don't, and in fairness, I don't know if Karina Gould actually got my correspondence. It's possible she didn't receive it. I didn't get anything back. The other candidates, I couldn't get their contact info, but those guys I did contact. But you are the only one who made yourself available tonight to do this, and I salute you for that and appreciate it, for coming on to do this tonight.
Well, to be honest, I probably would be out canvassing, but I'm office guy today. So I'll be closing the office, and I had a whole bunch of appointments all day. So the ladies watched the office, and they went out canvassing when I came back. And so it's just great timing. And I always have time for you if I can. Maybe it's a couple minutes. But to me, I try to make myself available to everybody. They phone me, they text me, I go to their house, whatever it is, because I'm here to be your servant, and I have to act the way I would act as your MP. So I'm trying to act as your MP when I'm not being your MP, so that you know what you're going to get when you deal with Michael Bator. And I tell you, I would love this job. I love this. I never thought I'd like a politic job. I mean, going to Ottawa with all these donut heads and, all these lobbyists and everyone, that part will be hard. But being their voice in that mayhem is what gives me strength. And the time I have to spend with my constituency, I could be at the food bank helping out. Maybe I could figure out a way, if I didn't have to work full time, and maybe if I work full time, I could still figure it out, because I figured out how to make a riding. A lot of work though, and lack of sleep. But there is no meal available for homeless on Mondays. Right? That's one thing I found out going through. And if I was the MP for Burlington, I would really look into that, because those are our citizens, and I would look into why we have homelessness. And everyone says, well, what are you going to do about it? Well, if I'm there, I'm your voice, and I'm going to be the pebble in your shoe, the squeaky spring that hits you in the back and you can't sleep. And eventually the truth as we keep speaking it will come out, and then maybe I could change things. But what I could do personally for them is give my time to go and visit with the retirement home, play piano for them like I did today, tell the stories, listen to their stories. They love that. I could also end up being at the food bank, maybe kick in a couple of hours and do some, or maybe use my ability with the newsletters or my name rec to draw attention to some of the issues affecting Burlingtonians. And one of the huge things that I'm really, really getting mad at, and I even consider running municipally, is I do not want this place to turn into Mississauga or Toronto, right? I don't want to be shoe boxes on top of the GO stations like they're trying to do. They're already taking out Kelly's Bakery. They're going after all the green space. And the beauty of Burlington is you can breathe, you have a backyard, you have parks, you can get to places relatively quick. You don't have to line up. When you walk down the sidewalk, you're not bumping into people. You don't. Although crime is picking up here and people are locking their doors, and I want to catch that before it's too late. And I feel at the federal level, if we could put a pause on immigration, we can take a lot of pressure off. And that's why I would love the job. Like, it would be so awesome to wake up in the morning and go, oh, hey, I'm not in Ottawa today. What can I do for Burlington today? Do I go to my office and talk to people? Do I help the small business somehow with something I could help them with, a connection? Can I go visit the lady that's a little bit lonely at the retirement home? Could I go and plant trees with Burlington Green? Could I go with the other group that saved the trumpeters? I would love if that was my job, just going out and serving the people. I enjoyed being a waiter so much. It's kind of funny. I don't know if I could do it at this age, but it was really great being with people and making their meal and their time, their birthday, their anniversary special, right? Or the one guy that used to come in weekly, his wife died, he's a single dad, a bit older. The kid actually worked with us. He was 14, 15, then he ended up working with us. But Mr. Bain, what a great man. Every Friday he'd come in, we had a chat, we talked, and I really enjoyed that. And I would love to do that for the people of Burlington, to be able to be their servant, to ask them what they need and try to go get it and facilitate it in the most efficient manner that I could. Because there's no greater thing than to serve your mankind. Because I don't. You can give me riches, and I can be blinded, or I can, escape a bit. But the true happiness comes from when I was coaching, and the kid scored his goal for the first time, and you tape the puck, and you put the date, and you have the big announcement with the parents changing them, or seeing the kids stop for the first time. Oh my God, it's Christmas! I got some guys on my team that can stop. I might get to the quarterfinals. Just those great feelings, or empowering somebody and teaching them something. So what I'm going to do, probably if I have the time, I'm going to, because the Burlington Chamber of Commerce has some really great opportunities I was unaware of, and I'd like to sign up. I miss coaching. I think I'm a little old to be putting the skates on and running a team, but I sure could take a bunch of young kids and teach them about business, about software development, about the things I've learned and how they can empower themselves. That I just get a great joy out of that. When other people are happy, it makes a really great vibration, right? It's like when you play music and people are dancing, and that's what I want to bring to Burlington. I want to address all the issues. I want to be your servant, and I want to try to make everything better for you as an individual and protect your families, if I can, by fighting the books in the school, fighting for your rights so that nobody takes your children away because you didn't want to do a vaccine program or, teach them there's 18,000 genders. I want to be that guy. I want to be the person that you can come to, and I'm always there for you. And that's one of the things that people say about me sometimes. They'll just say, Mike, you're always there when I need you. And I want to be that guy all the time. I got a bad back here and there, but I fight through it, and I'm going to fight for everybody here. And I just don't know why people don't believe in me and what I've shown. I built this from scratch with a bunch of people and built a team of people that are so talented. And then the people I stood with on the bridges took time off work to go to Rainbow Grill, slugging my PA of -20 in the generator. And then they turn their back on me because they're scared of Carney. And then it's not just them, the NDP guy, we got this office in a great location, Everybody drives by. We at rush hour or at lunch, we can stand out there and have 700 cars go by and do the flag wag, vote Mike Bator. A guy in a pickup sees it. Hey, what the heck's that? Comes in, retired Stelco worker. I never heard of you guys. What's up? And we told him our platform, and he goes, whoa, this is what I want. These are all the values that I have. The classical liberal, fair wages for fair work, protecting pensions. And he just signed up right away because of it, because we were here. And I want to be able to do that for people. And if that guy sees it, why are my guys not seeing it? Why did you, when I busted my balls for you, when I stood up for you, why are you abandoning me now? I would have momentum. I was polling at 16% randomly. I can't find it anymore, and they're not putting up any more polls. But if I'd had those turncoats, I would be at 25, and that would have given me momentum to take on Karina. But instead, it makes her go down and me not do the jump, right? I've quadrupled myself momentarily, and then poof, they took it.
And so you were polling, you say locally, at about
Locally
16%?
small, yeah, 16%. Green and NDP weren't even on the mark, and then it was an even split between the other two.
And see, I believe that because you have run a campaign really constantly since pretty much the last election. You've been one of the most, probably the most organized and focused candidates in the PPC since the last election. You've been working at it constantly. And so, yeah, very, I can see that absolutely paying off with a 16% poll.
Yeah, but I don't know what it is today and why they don't put it up again or what happened. But if those people stuck with me, then I would be having a seat, potentially having a seat this election and not in 2029. Why do they have to wait for 4 more years of hell? Either the slow burn with the Conservatives or the fast burn with Carney. And Carney's will be pretty fast, and Pierre will just hide stuff, and then we'll end up in the same spot because we're about one election cycle away from Germany, England, and it's proven that they go, oh no, I don't want to split the vote. We've got to vote for the Conservative, and then they go in and they burn you like Dougie here well, actually they're all bad in Ontario except for the small parties like New Blue in Ontario. To me, they're all doing the same thing. But if those people had stuck and built with me, right, we'd have it. And now I've got to wait until I have to say, I told you so again, right? Now I'll be saying, oh, split the vote. Well, how'd that work out in 2019? How did it work out in 2021? And then I'm going to have to say it in 2025 and be 4 more years older. And I could have been there already for you. So that part is very disappointing. And I will tell you a story that happened out of that. So I had 2 turncoats that were, oh, I love you, Million March, way to go. Oh my God, you're sticking up for my children. Oh, you're doing this. God bless you. And then they got an Emily Brown sign, right? So I was a little depressed, right? Oh, I love you. I love your policies. You should run for mayor, or you should run for something, you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, anything but what I'm trying to do and what I promised to do. Yeah, okay. And I went home and I texted my sister. So, I got that Apple Play. I just like, oh, hey, text Ann. I really could use the prayer warriors that helped save my house, right? Because I was in a situation where I was in a breakup and my house was threatened by a 2-year relationship. Anyway, long story. So I was in a bad shape, living paycheck to paycheck and almost losing my house. And the prayer warriors came. Right? I don't know who's religious on this channel or anything, but I've become much closer to God in the last 4 years, and especially the last 2 months. So I made that text, and then I get home, and right there in my inbox, I had 43 emails. I'm checking them out. That's why I can't sleep, because by the time I get home, I have to clear it because I feel so bad not getting back to people. And it may get overwhelming one day, but for now, I'm keeping up. And all of a sudden, there's a prayer warrior from Nova Scotia, Truro, Nova Scotia, sends me this beautiful prayer warrior, how she was called to God in 1974. And in 1994, she had this premonition to be an intercessor or a watchman. I don't know much about it. I started to read about it. And what it basically is the prayer warriors pray for you at the darkest times when you can't, because God has called you to do something else. And their job is to protect you against any evil forces. And so I get this. And then all of a sudden, I get another prayer warrior come at that rally that we were at. Out of nowhere comes this guy with a shofar, and they're praying over David's speaker. And you know, he has a bit of a stuttering problem. When they prayed for him, he ended up speaking like 80% better than he's ever spoken his entire life as they were sitting there praying for him. And then people in the audience, when we blew the shofar, because David asked, the saying is, set our people free, and you blow the shofar. And I was standing right from the Rainbow Church, and we're aimed right at it because we wanted to be visible as they went in. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the people in the audience felt this warm air come through, this thing. And so it's been very surreal for me. And I can tell you, I cried the first election here and there. Just you hear a story, oh, I lost my daughter, or, you know, I'll never get a house, or I can't work because of the stress, the PSD. But now I can't sleep very well. And when I get these messages, and I've never cried or wept so much in gratitude for the people that have shown up to help me with this. It seems like every time I'm about to fall down, somebody comes to pick that piece up. And then I cried so much because I do feel I feel it stronger than I ever had, the sorrow of the people. And it's overwhelming. Maybe it's lack of sleep, or maybe it's a divine intervention of some kind, or maybe it's just a journey getting closer to God. But I can tell you, I have had, I can't explain the emotion I've had. I've never felt this way in my entire life.
Yeah. So do they plan to do a debate, reschedule it? Do you know?
No, they said, oh, there's no time for it. So should I prove to them? And I don't know if I should do that, but I bet you I could pull this off like that. I mean, I had Max at the school board protest in 2 days. I called Hamilton, I called my buddy JD, and I called my team, and boom, we're set up. Let's go. So I also have some venues that we can have access to. Out of riding, I know one for sure I could get because it's vacant, and I know the guy that owns it. And we could have a debate done. I grab the PA, boom, you're done, right? You get a moderator, and like, it's so easy to do. To do it really, really nice with your charcuteries and all of your printing and stuff like that. Yeah, I imagine that would take a little more of your marketing, but in an election, I don't think you need to market it much. You got to go, hey, you know, they put it into the papers and people show up, right? It's not just my newsletter. Even with my newsletter, I could probably get, 50, 100 people for a debate. And so, I don't know. I think they're just scared to debate me because their ideas are weak and their character is weak, and they don't want to be exposed, right? That, to me, that's how I feel, because if you don't want to step in the ring with me, then that means that you're not good enough. You don't have confidence in your own ability or skill, right? Yeah. You step in the ring, whether you win or lose, you've got the confidence, you believe in your ideas, and you're ready to fight for them. They're not ready to fight for them. They just want to use deception and make sure the other 70% of the people never hear me. Like, you saw the guy, first time, never met me. Hi, I'm Michael Bator. Oh, who are you? Right? Like, well, I'm supposed to be in a debate, but they don't want to hear. What? They don't want to hear from you. I vote for you, right? Maybe he came from Hong Kong and he knows what free speech is about. I don't know. But that's what they fear. In my personal opinion, they don't want me to meet these people because they know that I'm speaking the truth and that I have the solutions. Like, just like I said to you, we are right. We're not right wing. We're not left wing. We're just right. We're right about the tariffs. We're right about the immigration, right about the monetary policy, right about DEI, right about SOG. And they're scared of that. In my opinion, they're scared. Otherwise, you'd step in the ring and knock my head off because your ideas are better. But if your ideas aren't better, you're shy because I'm going to knock your head off, right? And if you're confident in your ideas, and so am I, well, let's go for it. And then the best idea wins, right? But they don't want the best idea to win because they don't have the best ideas.
Well, if you manage to put a debate together, I'd be happy to cover it and live stream it right here too. So,
well, why don't you just invite them? Just invite them. We'll do a virtual one. Just say, hey, you know what? Because, okay, let's pick a bad time to canvass, 9 o'clock. You're not allowed to canvass after 9. You have a debate from 9 to 10:30. And there you go. And it doesn't matter where you are. Like, what appointment are you going to have at 9 o'clock, right? I haven't had any appointments. That's when I'm clearing my emails when I'm driving home. Well, actually, I don't get out of here till 10 or so. But when I get home, that's all I do. I clear my emails. But if I don't, then I do it in the morning, which bugs me because then there's more. But you could put it up for a night, right? And just, okay, I'll be a bit slower for a night. So why don't you do that? Phone them. Just say, hey, you know what? I understand it's hard to book a venue. It's this, but this is virtual. Boom, we're just on. Here's the link. Come on and talk. I will moderate it. I have a set of questions for you. And even if you want the questions in advance, I'll give them to you in advance. I just want you guys to share your ideas with our audience. I would support that idea, but I'll bet you I'm the only guy who shows up.
I will put that out there, and we will see what we get back. Happy to do it, and I'll say this: even if only one other person is willing to come, I'll do it with 2 of you, and that just puts more pressure on all of them to show up to participate, because only those who show up have a voice.
Yeah.
In that case, they're just self-censoring. So I'm happy to do that.
I love your attitude. I would love to do that. I was thinking that would be a great idea. I just love the idea of being able to have an opportunity to share our ideas. And, all of our ideas, maybe not for you. You might actually believe there's 20,000 genders. I don't know. So maybe you won't like that. But maybe that's not as important to you as immigration. And you might say, whoa, hold on. I kind of don't agree with them on that, but this is really important. We need to fix this. After we fix that, then I'll beat the shit out of them again and bug them. Hey, no, you got to do this. And then we battle the ideas again, right? So I don't know how that would all shape up, but I think that an informed public is a public that can make a good decision, a public that's not fear-porned and scared and bullied into thinking that, oh my God, my life's going to end if Pierre gets in. You got to vote Liberal, forget the Greens, forget the end. It's on both sides, right? And when you see that, doesn't it smell like COVID? Build back better. Build, right? They all say build back better. I can't believe that the conservatives that stood with me on those bridges smelling the lies and the fear and were fearless. They were fearless. They stood. It was cold. We stood. We did what we needed to do. Some people got arrested, but we went out there and we did it. And they can't see the same fear porn on them, right? And the split the vote thing didn't happen in 2019 and 21. I'd have a seat this election because I'd be polling much higher. They couldn't ignore me. But because 25% of my people vote for me, this time they don't, but then the 25 here said, screw split the vote, that was dumb, I'm going with Mike. And you see, I'm split all the way. I'm being chopped up into pieces. And yet here I am getting up every time, getting knocked down. And if you don't respect that, then what type of leader do you want, right? Like, you want a leader that's going to sign C4, a guy that says nothing about C63? Do you want a guy that throws Christine Anderson under the bus after doing photo ops with all the people? Do you want a guy that wears a dress shirt and dress shoes and does a photo op with James Topp? Do you want a guy like Carney who pretends he's some type of economist after he destroyed You should listen to the former British Prime Minister about Carney and what he did to that country, right? Do you want those guys? Like, does the NDP really want that? Vote Liberal for that guy? Do you? Oh, well, I don't want Pierre. And then I heard a rumor that Karina went to to one of the homes and said that Pierre was going to take away their pensions. Like that's the fear porn. Anybody who scares you into something, unless it's true, like, holy shit, Rick, there's a bus coming, get out of the road, right? Okay, that's a real. But anyone who makes up fake fear, manufactured theater, is not someone you'd want to vote for, because this is about trust, right? Do you trust?
That's what we were just talking about with regard to the story I was highlighting too. It's about honesty and integrity.
Well, and I don't know if I trust the guy either. I don't know him, right? So I don't know. But when I trust somebody, I trust them until there's no reason to trust. Now, I ask everyone in Burlington, if you're listening and you're a conservative, Do you trust me, who stood with you, who organized the Million March, who ensured grade 9s weren't being sexualized by that freak? Or I guess you call it freak because you're wearing fake boobs in front of kids. Or do you want to stand with Emily Brown? And where was she? What did she do when we needed her to be at the school board? What did she do when we needed her to stand for the grandmothers that couldn't see their kids because the borders were closed? Did she hug people that lost kids in the lockdowns? Did she march with you? Was she with you? Did she give up her time? Did she give up pieces of her work, pieces of time with her family? Who do you trust to stand with you the next time this happens? If Pierre didn't stand with you, Emily didn't stand with you last time, what makes you think they will stand with you the next time this happens? That's my question to Burlington. This is about trust. If you trust Michael Bator, you should vote for him, because you're not doing service to yourself if you vote out of fear and for someone you can't trust. That's it in a nutshell. I went to a door, lady, these are transitions. She says, I go, yeah, I'm Michael Bator. I want to be your MP, and I'm with the PPC. Have you ever heard of us? No. Well, would you like to hear some of our policy? No. Oh, okay. And she goes, no, wait. Take your glasses off. I take my glasses off. And she asked me, so who is Michael Bator? Like, where'd you grow up? What's your family like? School? Just give me an idea how you got here. And so I told her. And then she said, okay, that's great. Thank you very much. Now I will take your pamphlet, because if I do not trust you, it doesn't matter what you write in this pamphlet, right? And that was a lesson. And it's not just the lady who's retired, who has very nice means. She still keeps her 4-bedroom house in the nice neighborhoods. It's not just her. It's appliance servicemen too. I had a guy, a friend of mine, I asked him, well, how do you vote? And he says, well, you better come to my door professional, right? That's his first criteria. The other lady, I was already in not quite the suit I'm in, but I got the jacket and no tie. And he says to me, I need to know I can trust you. And he asks a few questions. And if he feels he can trust your answers of those questions, then he will vote for you. It's all about trust. I don't know how some of the other people do it, but those are key canvassing moments that stood out in my head.
So, Michael, that was pretty much a wrap up there, but I'll just throw it over to you for a final thought as we bring tonight's feature interview to a conclusion.
Well, I would just like to say, Rick, it's always a pleasure here. I learn things some days. Some days I hope I enlighten you as well. And your viewers, I don't know what to say. I just think that they're pretty much, if they're following you, they probably got their heads on straight. And thank you so much for your time and joining us. And if you are in Burlington, and you don't even have to be in Burlington, we have people who are working for our campaign in Manitoba, in Guelph, in London. So if you want to help out remotely, I would love to hear from you. We're starting our call banks up this week. And then if you are relatively local, like I said, I've got some Hamilton volunteers, I've got some Oakville. If you do want to volunteer, you go to michaelbator.com/volunteer. And if you believe in Burlington, like some of the people in the country do that donate to us, we could sure use some money this week, because we need to get out more ads and we need to get out more flyers, and our team's only able to deliver 6,000 flyers and we want to hit 20,000. And if we could get some donations, I'm telling you, we got just enough time to get that mailer out. So it's michaelbator.com/donate. If you believe in our team, if you believe that Burlington can be a beachhead, that starting point for turning our country around, if you believe in me, if you believe in my work ethic, I really could use your help now. I've been working day and night. I thought I was working day and night before, but now I'm really working day and night, and just say it. So thank you so much, Rick, for your gracious time and inviting me. Thank you so much. One day we still got to have that beer. I know we're not quite close enough to kind of pull something off, but we're not far enough that we can't do it. And I'm still looking forward to the beer on a patio with you. offline, put the phones down, and just get to know each other on that level where we're not public and we can be in the change room, so to speak.
I look forward to meeting you face to face in the near future, and I will be in touch. I'll see what happens with these inquiries on the possible virtual all candidates debate for your riding, which is a key riding in this national election. So it's important.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And to your audience, God bless all you all, and have yourselves a great night.
All right. Thank you. Michael Bator, PPC candidate in Burlington. I'll be right back, folks, with today's top news stories. Stay with me.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
All right, let's get into today's top news stories. We have in the White House today, we have, I have to remember which clip this is. Hang on a second. Hang on. Oh, yes, Harvard. We'll come back to that one. We've also got Caroline Leavitt in the White House press briefing today talking about Canada with a CBC reporter saying that Donald Trump has not changed his position on Canuckistan. So the 51st state issue suddenly back on the table again and getting some headlines today as the election campaign continues.
They need our money. So the president, again, has made it quite clear that he's open to a deal with China, but China needs to make a deal with the United States of America. Sure.
On tariffs, yesterday in the Oval Office...
Which outlet are you with?
The Canadian Public Broadcaster.
Oh, nice to see you.
Thank you. Yesterday in the Oval Office, President Trump suggested that there could be some help for automakers. I'm wondering what that looks like. Is it tariff relief on the 25% tariffs that are in place right now, or the new tariffs that are coming up in May on auto parts? And a second on Canada, if I may. President Trump's tone when it comes to Canada-U.S. relations, Canadians have noticed it's shifted a bit in the past few weeks. Ever since the election campaign started, he stopped talking about Canada becoming the 51st state, at least publicly. I'm wondering if that's on purpose and why.
I would reject the president's position on Canada has shifted. Perhaps he just hasn't been asked about Canada by questions from this group in the Oval Office when they see him almost every day, but the president still maintains his position on Canada. The United States has been subsidizing Canada's national defense, and he believes that Canadians would benefit greatly from becoming the 51st state of the United States of America. As for autos and auto parts, I don't have anything to read out for you there, but I think the point the president was making is flexibility, and he has flexibility when it comes to negotiations and talks, but ultimately his goal in his fair trade deals that he is pursuing with many countries around the world is to put the American worker first. And we had automakers and auto workers here at the White House on Liberation Day who believe in this president and his negotiating ability to put them first and to bring those jobs back to the United States of America. And the president's been very clear about that in his conversations with the automakers as well.
And yeah, flexibility means he changes his mind every other day, or maybe even every day, even every hour sometimes. As a result of that, everything is in a state of chaos. There was a report out of Japan today indicating that Honda was going to shift a lot of the production from its factory in Alliston, Ontario, to the U.S. That sent reverberations through Canada, certainly Ontario, where the auto industry is based. But now it looks like those reports are not entirely, well, they weren't confirmed, certainly not by Honda. And we can see headlines on from various media outlets tonight. A lot of concerns, but here this is the CTV report, one of many outlets reporting on this tonight, including Independence. Honda responds to report some Alliston, Ontario production may move to U.S. amid tariffs. And Honda says that a report published this morning claiming it may be considering a major restructuring of its North American manufacturing footprint that would have major implications for the Canadian auto sector is inaccurate. And in fact, we do have a quote from the company here. This is part of their statement from Ken Chu from Honda Corporate Communications, who says, "This was not an announcement by Honda, and we cannot comment on the specifics of this morning's headlines. However, we can confirm that our Canadian manufacturing facility in Alliston, Ontario, will operate at full capacity for the foreseeable future, and no changes are being considered at this time. We constantly study options for future contingency planning and utilize short-term production shift strategies when required to mitigate negative impacts on our business." The report initially earlier today seemed to gain real steam when CBC picked up the information and really started to run with it. And as I say, the information actually came out of Japan. The report said this morning that Honda aims to manufacture 90% of the vehicles that it sells in the United States within the U.S. And that would have resulted in the relocation of production of the CR-V from Alliston to the U.S. But by this afternoon, a spokesperson with Honda in Canada issued that statement that we just read to you. And so that is, to some degree, easing concerns. But just the fact that that was out there in the media internationally and domestically has rattled some nerves, that's for sure. Ontario Premier Doug Ford responding today following the Nikkei report. He says that it's not accurate at all. Ford says that Honda wants to increase production down in the US. And he says that, quote, we're going to keep Honda here and I'll do everything I can do to protect the people and their jobs. Stay tuned. It's a roller coaster ride, and it ain't over yet, ladies and gentlemen. Now let me take a little break here because I have to queue up this Harvard stuff for you. I shall return.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on Earth.
The entire world is watching.
Every dictator, every crazy dictator in the world is watching. The world is watching. On TV, the entire world is watching. On social media.
But the entire world is watching, and yes, they are seeing what we have apparently bravely been willing to say that others are thinking.
Stand for freedom. Literally stand for freedom. Let's get this done. The entire world is watching.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
Maverick News. Maverick News. Maverick News.
Let me have more control of my own destiny.
The world is watching.
Okay, I'm back. And I have the Harvard story for you. So, Donald Trump has intensified his push against Harvard University, threatening to strip the institution of its tax-exempt status after his administration froze over $2 billion in federal funding. The White House is demanding changes to Harvard's hiring, admissions, and teaching practices, claiming these will combat anti-Semitism on campus. Harvard is the nation's oldest university and has rejected the demands, accusing the administration of attempting to control its community. In a social media post, Trump suggested today taxing Harvard as a political entity if it continues what he called ideologically driven behavior, a move that could cost the university millions annually. Harvard's endowment is valued at $53 billion. The administration's demands include reporting students deemed hostile to American values, ensuring viewpoint diversity in departments, and auditing programs for anti-Semitic harassment. The White House also called for an apology from Harvard for allegedly tolerating anti-Semitism. Harvard's president defended the university's independence, citing constitutional protections for free speech. The Education Department criticized Harvard's resistance, calling it emblematic of an entitlement mindset and highlighting concerns about campus disruptions and harassment of Jewish students. Meanwhile, Harvard professors have filed a lawsuit alleging the government is attacking academic freedom. Other universities are facing similar pressure. Columbia University, which lost $400 million in federal funding, agreed to some demands, but is now resisting further concessions. Public confidence in higher education has been declining, with many Americans believing universities push political agendas. Gee, do you think? This is a developing story, and part of the development came, as I said earlier, in the White House press briefing today. Here's the exchange.
The Trump administration today announced it's cutting around $2 billion, or freezing $2 billion in funds to Harvard because the campus has serious problems with violence and with anti-Semitism. We saw former President Obama, side with Harvard, which rejected the Trump administration's demands. I'm curious, where does the administration see this going with Harvard and with other colleges and universities in America that are refusing to reform in wake of the sort of craziness that we've seen take over some of them?
Thank you, Matt, for being here, and thanks for the question. When it comes to Harvard, the president's position on this is grounded in common sense, in the basic principle that Jewish American students, or students of any faith, should not be illegally harassed and targeted on our nation's college campuses. And we unfortunately saw that illegal discrimination take place on the campus of Harvard. There are countless examples to prove it, particularly with the stunning confession by then Harvard President Claudine Gay, who said that bullying and harassment depended on the context. The president at that time made it clear to the American public he was not going to tolerate illegal harassment and anti-Semitism taking place in violations of federal law. So the president made it clear to Harvard, follow federal law, no longer break Title VI, which was passed by Congress to ensure no student can be discriminated against on the basis of race, and you will receive federal funding. Unfortunately, Harvard has not taken the president or the administration's demands seriously. All the president is asking, don't break federal law, and then you can have your federal funding. I think the president is also begging a good question. More than $2 billion out the door to Harvard when they have a more than $50 billion endowment. Why are the American taxpayers subsidizing a university that has billions of dollars in the bank already? And we certainly should not be funding a place where such grave anti-Semitism exists.
And I'm curious, you had just mentioned Rachel Morin, and I'm a Maryland man, and I think most Marylanders appreciate what you were saying today. We've seen that Chris Van Hollen, who was Rachel Morin's senator, basically threatening to fly to El Salvador to press for the release of someone who was in America illegally. And not as much sort of from him about Rachel Morin's horrific murder and the verdict that was, I think, rightly reached yesterday. What does the administration think about the priorities we're seeing from Senate Democrats in terms of illegal immigrants instead of the work that agencies like ICE and DHS are doing with the Trump administration?
It's mind-boggling, the priorities of the modern-day Democrat Party. I think it's atrocious that you have Democrats in Congress on Capitol Hill who swear an oath to protect their constituents and to serve them in Washington, D.C., spending more time defending illegal immigrant gang members than their own constituents and law-abiding American citizens like Rachel Morin. And I saw the president personally on the campaign trail, and I continue to see him in his role as president of the United States, put American families first, reach out to the victims, the families of victims at the hands of illegal immigrant crime, and frankly, the actions and the words of the Democrat Party prove they could not care less about the American public. And maybe if they did, they'd see a bit higher approval ratings right now. Thanks for being here with us today. Peter.
Thank you, Caroline. To follow up on something that you just said, why do Ivy League schools get so much federal funding?
It's a very good question, and it's a question the president has obviously raised in his discussions and negotiations with not just Harvard, but also Columbia and many other Ivy League institutions. We have the Anti-Semitism Task Force, which the president promised and delivered on. The Anti-Semitism Task Forces across the government, representatives from various federal agencies who meet on a weekly basis to discuss the question that you just raised. And I think a lot of Americans are wondering why their tax dollars are going to these universities when they are not only indoctrinating our nation's students, but also allowing such egregious illegal behavior to occur.
To follow up on immigration, deporting American citizens to Central American prisons, is it legal, or do you need to change the law to do it?
Well, it's another question that the president has raised. It's a legal question that the president is looking into. And he talked about this yesterday when with his meeting with President Bukele in the Oval Office. He would only consider this, if legal, for Americans who are the most violent, egregious, repeat offenders of crime who nobody in this room wants living in their communities.
And then there's this CHNV thing. President Biden let more than 530,000 people from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, Venezuela into the U.S. with this CHNV program. He did it with the stroke of a pen. And now a judge will not let President Trump undo it with the stroke of a pen. So are you guys going to give all 530,000 plus people individual deportation hearings, or are you just going to try to deport them?
I spoke to White House counsel's office about this morning because obviously another rogue district court judge is trying to block the administration's mass deportation efforts with this latest injunction. We will fight this in the court of law, and we will ensure that every individual who illegally entered our country and was really taken advantage of by the previous administration because they abused the parole system in this country to fast track legal status, as they said, for these illegal immigrants, and they completely abused our legal system. Many of these paroled individuals were then given temporary protective status, which the intention of that TPS was only supposed to be used in times of war or storm or destruction in the home countries of these migrants. It was completely abused. These migrants came here for economic reasons, and they illegally entered our country, and the president is not going to tolerate that. And so we will continue to focus on deporting as many individuals as we can. Jennifer.
One on tariffs and one on Russia. Can you give us any sort of an update on which deals are in hand or are close? Which countries are reaching a deal on tariffs? And then on Russia, can you give us an update on what the agreement was with Russia? The president yesterday said that he thinks we'll be seeing some very good deals very soon. Can you talk a little bit about what Russia agreed to?
Sure. I don't want to get ahead of our United States Trade Ambassador and Secretary of Commerce, the Secretary of Treasury, all the great individuals who are working incredibly hard to cut these good trade deals. And the president's deeply involved in this as well. He has made it clear to his trade team he wants to personally sign off on all of these deals too. And so I don't want to get ahead of them on announcements, but obviously, as you've heard from numerous administration officials, there have been many talks with countries. We've had more than 15 deals, pieces of paper put on the table, proposals that are actively being considered. And as we've said consistently, more than 75 countries have reached out. So there's a lot of work to do. We very much understand that, but we do believe that we can announce some deals very soon.
And then on Russia, can you say, did Russia agree to anything with Special Envoy Steve Witkoff?
I don't want to get ahead of those negotiations as well. What I can tell you is that they were a productive conversation was had. As the presidential envoy Steve Witkoff said last night, he believes that Russia wants to end this war, and the president believes that as well. There is incentive for Russia to end this war, and perhaps that could be economic partnerships with the United States, but we need to see a ceasefire first, and the president and the presidential envoy Witkoff made that very clear to the Russians. Gabe.
Thank you, Caroline. And I also want to thank your press office for releasing that information that you cited up there regarding the ICE arrests over the last couple of days. And I have them right here, but what I might ask is, why not release the same information for those who were deported to El Salvador?
Well, first of all, that information was released by the Department of Homeland Security. The individuals on the flights to El Salvador are foreign terrorists, and those are counterterrorism operations. They are much different than the arrests and final order of removals that you see on a day-to-day basis that law enforcement agents are conducting around the country.
That information was not, to that detail, was not released by DHS, though.
I just told you the reason. It was a counterterrorism operation, a deportation of foreign terrorists, not illegal criminals who have been convicted of heinous crimes living in our American communities. It's two different things. Foreign terrorist, illegal immigrant criminal, two different things, two different definitions. You should look them up. Christian, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Caroline. Does the president support raising the corporate tax rate to pay for all these other tax cuts he wants to see move through Congress?
Look, I've seen this idea proposed. I've heard this idea discussed, but I don't believe the president has made a determination on whether he supports it or not.
And then secondly, do you have any information on the status of Eden Alexander? Hamas says they lost contact with the unit guarding him following an Israeli airstrike earlier today.
I don't have updates. I have not seen that report, but I can certainly check in with our National Security Council. I have spoken to the president about Eden Alexander, and he's made it very clear to our national security team that finding him is a priority, but unfortunately I don't have any updates to share. But it's a very important matter, and certainly we can check in.
Okay. And we're out. Stay with me. More coming up right after this.
Maverick News. Expose lies and tell truth. The world is watching.
What is more important? A leaders' debate in the federal election or a hockey game? Answer simple. In Canada, hockey. The French language debate, which is scheduled for tomorrow, has been moved to avoid overlapping with tomorrow night's critical Montreal Canadiens game. The Leaders Debate Commission has confirmed the event will now begin at 6 p.m. Eastern, 2 hours earlier than previously scheduled. Now, it is in French, so I don't think we'll be carrying that. Maybe we will. Depends. We might get it with the English translation over top. Yeah. So how important is it? Well, here, let's let the leader of the block tell you why.
I would like anybody else, to watch the game. I would like yesterday's game to be a win for the Canadians because the young Russian was on ice. He scored. Then we would have been done with this season, and then the playoff would have begun. And we will have time to watch it because in May we will be free. But now I believe that some questions are very serious about Canada's future and Quebec's future, and maybe some attention should be given to the debate. If the date can be changed, let's do that. I will, of course, make myself available at any moment. We'll look into that.
Well, we can't have the leaders debate. There's a hockey game on. I get it. It's Canada. Back briefly now to the issue of integrity, honesty, lying, propaganda, spin, whatever you want to call it. I did write a Substack article with regard to this issue, and I actually wrote it before I became aware of the story that we were touching on during Michael Bator's interview regarding the letters from the RCMP, which is, it's not from the RCMP. In any event, I have the link here to the Substack article. I'm going to post it in the main Rumble chat. So please consider subscribing to the Substack, the Maverick News Substack. It's free, so you don't have to pay anything. Here, I'm going to put it in the YouTube, the main YouTube channel as well. Speaking of which, that that channel is eventually going to be decommissioned. So I would encourage you all to go over and subscribe on our other Maverick Live channel, which is eventually where I think we will end up doing most of our YouTubing. So just letting you know. Appreciate that. The Substack article, I'll bring it up on the screen for you. I mean, if you like being lied to, then I guess you can disagree with me on this article. If, on the other hand, you prefer truth, then this might register with you. Today's political web of lies, how smears and toxicity are hollowing out democracy. It's pretty simple. The premise of this, there is a lot of lying going on, and at unprecedented levels. We are dealing with something I'd say politically right now that we've never actually dealt with before. And this article kind of lays it all out in an op-ed in more detail. So I would encourage you all to go read it. Share your thoughts. Hopefully they're constructive and not just a contrarian view for the sake of being contrarian. And to kind of wrap things up tonight, I wanted to share something that I stumbled upon yesterday. I had to go to the. This is because we're talking about the auto industry, and today is one of my tasks. I had to go to the auto recycling yard because I needed a battery for my car. So I didn't buy a new one. I got a cheapo used battery at the auto recycling yard. And because we're on a budget around here, speaking of which, if you want to support the program, you can do that by donating at freedomreporters.com. I'll put that up on the screen right there, freedomreporters.com. You can also donate by e-transfer at rw581 at aol.com. That is right there, as you see on the bottom of the screen on the ticker. And if you do donate there, please add the security answer, Maverick. You have to complete the security question when Interact prompts you, and then just assign whatever question you choose. It doesn't matter, or assign, it doesn't matter. If you can just make sure that the security answer note is the word Maverick, then we'll know what the answer is. No confusion on our end. And our bank, CIBC, requires that be completed in order to finish the transaction. Without it, we can't do anything. And they don't even provide your email address when you send that in, so I can't even contact you by email. I can see a name, but no contact info. So that's how you do it. Or freedomreporters.com takes you to the PayPal. Also, maybe tomorrow night we'll dig into this. I didn't get a chance to talk about this tonight, but they're the founder of Give, Send, Go made some statements, I think it was today, about being attacked by the political right. This after being, certainly during the Freedom Convoy, placed on something of a pedestal by the political right because of the stand taken against even the Canadian government, which had frozen bank accounts. But because there have been some fundraisers run through the Give, Send, Go platform that have been, I guess, left oriented politically. They've been like relentlessly attacked by some people on the right side of the political spectrum, and it's been really vicious. So maybe we'll get into some of that tomorrow night. We're running out of time this evening. But that being said, I still have time to share this with you. This is something, as I say, I ran across this, and I think it's, we can segue into this by saying that, yeah, we're talking about the auto industry. And also as a result of me just going to the junkyard today, I'm sure that's why this popped up in my feed. But I thought it was hilarious. So I want to share this with you and close off the program tonight with this. This is Many Engines, a new super music jam direct from Chinastan. And I think this is also timely because it's something of an unintentional response, I guess, to Trump's tariffs and the auto industry. So they have many engines. Many engines. If you need an engine, as I have in the past, you can get them from China. They have many. Here, check this out. This is hilarious. Oh, hang on.
In my factory, if you need auto parts, you can find me. Very models engines in my warehouse. They are very beautiful and very low melody. Very models engines in my factory. They are very company and good quality. Very models engines in my warehouse. They are very beautiful and very company. Many engines in my factory. Good engine in my factory. Many engines in my factory. Many engines in my factory.
That was, oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. I will be back tomorrow night, everybody, 7 p.m. Eastern. Love you guys. Catch you on the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.